Welcome to another episode of New to Me. I'm Stephen Michael Zach, and today we are taking a look at the Neewer FW600. So let's jump in. First off, this will cost you $189. It is a 5-inch monitor, budget monitor. Let's go ahead and jump into it. First off, you'll get instructions and the monitor itself. We will come back to that. You get a bracket. You get both micro and mini HDMI cables for your camera. You get a cleaning cloth, which you will need. You get a sunscreen and way to connect it, and it is all plastic and very bendable. You get a micro USB to USB adapter. You get a micro USB to USB here. And you get a flash drive for uploading your LUTs and for upgrading the firmware. So looking at the unit, it is fairly simple. It is made of all plastic, but it is very lightweight. On the top, you do get a left, a right, a menu, an up and a down. These also act as function buttons for, and they are programmable, so you can actually program these. On this side, you're going to get your HDMI out, your DC in, and your HDMI in as well. So you do get an out and an in. You can run it to a director's monitor or something like that. On the bottom, you are going to get an 8-volt, a headphone jack for monitoring audio, and you're going to get a micro USB port. Note there is no quarter 20 on the bottom. I really wish there was, but you do get this interesting bracket. And then on the side, you're going to get your quarter 20 mount and your power button. Something also to note is you do get this shoe on the mount as well. So let's go ahead and put this together. And I will tell you right away that this is not my favorite thing, and I will show you why. But kind of have to, let's go ahead and mount it on the camera first here. And of course, we're using the old Canon 6D. And let's go ahead, and it is easier if you mount this when the bracket's already attached to the camera. There you go, easy peasy. And as you can see, the first thing I don't like about this is when you start turning the monitor. Let's go ahead and turn this around a little bit. As you can see, now it's starting to slip and it's starting to bend, it's starting to come off. So you have to be very careful when you're pushing this back up and down because it does come completely loose. And that is one of the major downsides of this camera. The other downside is if you look at the battery, it's got these metal loops. Okay, one thing I quickly want to show here on this is that, and I don't know if you can see this, but the NPF attachment here, basically it's these little like loops of metal. It's not like most NPFs that have just like these little like metal rods that pop out of it for the connection. It's these little loops, and those have a tendency to bend and break. So I don't know how long this battery thing is going to last, but as you can see, it is just the little loops here that are not great. So keep that in mind when you are looking at this monitor. Okay, so now that we've tested this, we've finally got our battery in. Again, not crazy about the battery, it is very janky. Let's go ahead and put the sunscreen on here. And fairly easy. The first time I put this on, it actually mounted easier than it did just now. But there you go. And there is your sunscreen. Then you just take this. Let's go ahead and attach it to the camera. So it's a lot easier to put this in. A lot easier if you have hands free. And there we go. You've got your mount on, and then you can just go ahead and pop this right on. Now, the screen is not the brightest I've ever seen. It is only, I think, 450 nits. But the windscreen seems to work very well. And yeah, there you go. There you have it. Okay, so here we are with the monitor. And right away you could see it is not the greatest monitor in the world. Let me go ahead and jack up the ISO so you can see the brightness. It does look like you do lose, if you have it up like that, you do lose a little bit of the screen. And again, you can loosen it this way. See how it came a little bit looser. Let's go ahead and tighten this up. And let's move this around a little bit. And as you can see, it just comes very, very loose, which is not good, and it's going to start to sag. So if you are going to adjust this, you are going to have to tighten this as well. You're going to have to take your hand. It's not one of these things where you can just move it and have it. See, it's already loose again. So this bracket I am not a fan of. But let's take a look at the functionality. Now, the first thing you will notice is it has all the graphs on it. If you want to make the screen dim, you can do it just by clicking up and down here. One thing that's super annoying is, you see I'm trying to use the slider and it's not working. You will have to just go up and down here. And it is not that bright. I think it's like 450 nit, so it's not very bright. And I do have the Canon on 1000 ISO. So there you go. Now, to get the menus, and of course you have all your scopes already out here, your vector, your histogram, all your RGB, all that. Double tap here, and that will actually shrink, which I'm not a huge fan of. And you've got all your exposures here, your zebras, your histograms, your waveforms, and you do have control, so you can actually move this to the other side. You can reposition them. You can change the brightness here. You can change I guess this is the RGB transparency here. I believe that on 2, the brightness, so you can actually make them brighter if you want. And then just hit close when you want to close them. So there we go. So there you go. Not too bad. Pretty easy, and you can do that literally with anything. You could reposition it. But you get your false color, you get your zebras, your histogram, your waveforms, your vector scope, and your HDR, an HDR setting, which is interesting. So you do get a lot of, you get HDR, you get HLG and PQ here modes, which is interesting. Not something I'll probably ever touch. And then you get your single color, you get your peaking. Let's go ahead and go blue, and let's go make that strong. You could have a center mark if you want. You could have a safe area, which we probably most likely will now. Safe area here, which I won't use. You can do your ratio, and I'm going to go ahead and move this all the way to 16 by 9. And of course, you could do your transparency. We'll do a low transparency, and we'll make it green. We'll make it white just for Ha's sake. You can add grid lines, which is pretty cool. I usually do the 3x3 grid lines. I just like it, but you don't have to use grid lines. And then you do get an audio meter here. You can move it. It's at the bottom here. You can move it from left to right. So hopefully you guys are able to see what I'm looking at. I'll leave it on the left. And then you can add your custom LUTs via the little USB here. Then you get your display settings. You can flip the display horizontally and vertically. You can zoom in, you get pixel to pixel. Here's your battery notification here. You can open that up, and I don't really see, it doesn't look like it does anything. I guess you could take a freeze frame. You can go to anamorphic, which is very cool. You do get an anamorphic mode here. If you are using anamorphic, it will de-squeeze on the monitor. And then you get your system. You get things like your color, your temperature, your sound. Sound if you want to use the headphones, you could do that. You can also program your hotkeys. Now, as you can see, the hotkeys are already programmed. So I'm going to probably most likely just leave those alone. And then you could do your updates, and then you get your status, and that tells you what you're running. We're on the Canon, so there you go. That is the menu system. So my final thoughts on the Neewer FW600 is, this is a pretty good starter monitor. If you need something for a gimbal, if you need something like you're using a small Sony camera, if you like a smaller, lighter weight monitor, if you just need something to get the job done, this is pretty good. Now the cons, it is made of plastic, which could be a pro or con. I think it's fine. Most of these monitors are made of plastic. It's about $189. I think I got this on sale for $139 on a flash sale on Amazon. Let's talk a little bit about the downside, the bad things, and that is the prongs in here that attach the battery. They're like, as you saw before, they're little loops, and they are going to get bent and broken very easily. So if you're going to power this thing, I would highly recommend getting like a little matchbox, little thin power bank, or plugging this right into a V-mount or some other battery source, using an external battery source, because taking this in and out is going to wreck your, it's gonna break. It's gonna break. Some other things I hate is this mount. As you can see, with just a couple of turns, it is super loose, so you're always gonna have to let go of the camera to make sure that it's tight. So not the not the greatest thing ever. The fact that there is no mounting point in here means I can't use the thing that the thing that I actually like to use, which actually works much better than this. That is a huge downside, that there is no quarter 20 on the bottom. That is a definite misstep. The monitor, 450 nits, not the brightest, but it does come with a sun hood, and in direct sunlight, it was fine. It was exactly what I expect from something out of 450 nits. So let's talk about, and also the one last thing that I didn't care for was the brightness control. If you can't really like pull the level down, you have to kind of swipe up and down, but the level goes left and right. It's a little weird, but it's fine. Now let's talk about what I do like about this, and that is the fact that I love the menu system on this. It is very, very nice. You get pretty much everything that you need, and it's very customizable. This is a new menu system that we're starting to see on these budget monitors. I believe like the Godox has something similar, if not the same one. And it's just so user-friendly, easy to use. I love the fact that you have the control buttons up here, but you can also program those to whatever functions that you want. That is super helpful. You do get a in and out for HDMI. You get a DC in here. You get an 8-volt on the bottom. You get a micro USB, so there's lots of different options. The power button is well hidden, so you're not going to accidentally hit it. And all in all, pretty solid. It is a little bit laggy, the screen, but nothing that's going to really bother me. And it's very lightweight, which I like. So that's it. Those are my thoughts. But oh, and also before I forget, it does have this sunscreen here, which works well. I mean, it is cheap. The more you fold it, the more it's going to get weaker, the more it's most likely going to bend and break. So hopefully Neewer will sell replacements for it. And attaching the mount for it is super, super, super easy. It just snaps right into place. So that's it. Those are my thoughts, but I want to know yours. So leave your questions and comments in the notes below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to mash that bell button to be notified when we drop a brand new video. And feel free to use the links below, as it helps out the channel. I'm Stephen Michael Zach, and this is New to Me.